Hi, this is Jess Mahler, and this is my video post for Module 5, Open Educational Resources. And I will be looking at this website called FreeReading. Over on the side here, there are two different links that you can click. There's one that you can click that will bring you to activities and another one for teaching tools. So first, I will show you the Find Activities. So within the Find Activities tab, you can choose by topic up at the top here. And as you can see, they are very low elementary. However, I did find some resources that I will be able to use with my middle school 7th grade learning support students. So it's just a matter of knowing what you're looking for and looking at the different areas to find what you need. And this is the teaching tools section where it provides educators like a step-by-step resource that they can use with their students to provide interventions and to help develop those literacy skills. And as you scroll down here, there's also a lot of other program resources that you can utilize. A lot of them, again, are very early on elementary, but I can use some of these with my struggling middle school learning support students who do have deficits in their reading and writing skills. I also like how this information is presented. So they have explicit instruction. They have systematic instruction that has overlapping sequences, and it's also research-based. So I think this is a great resource based on those facts. And specifically for my 7th grade learning support students, for their narrative writing unit, I will be using this writing activities. So within the activities, there's an introduce, reintroduce, and build mastery section, and they build upon each other. So I found one in each of the sections about a personal narrative that I'll be using with my students. At the bottom of the website, there's a link that says About FreeReading. If you click on that, it'll bring you to this page, which describes the type of literacy activities that are offered on this website. Down below is the information about using this content. Everything is protected under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 3.0 license, which allows everyone to use the content in a variety of ways as long as you attribute the original content to the owner. So as long as you are attributing it to FreeReading, you are allowed to use this resource. You can click on the link at the bottom of the page and it will bring you to the creativecommons.org page, and it will tell you what you are allowed to do with these resources. So for this one specifically for freereading.com, you can share, copy, redistribute the material. You can also adapt it, remix, transform, and build upon it for any purpose, even commercially. But you must follow the following terms. You must attribute it to whoever created it, give appropriate credit. And if you do remix, transform, or build upon the material, you must distribute your contributions under the same license as the original, meaning that you cannot change the licensing. It will still be an open educational resource. So another link that I want to point out at the bottom of the website is this Terms of Use link. If you click it, it will bring you to this list of terms that you must follow if you choose to use the FreeReading website. So first one is discussing the license. So this is, again, using that Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 3.0 license. So if you wanted to, you can click on this link and it'll take you back to that page that describes what the license will allow you to do. Term number 2 is that you must contribute the content to the original poster, which would be FreeReading. And then it continues on with additional terms for use and for distribution. So I found this lesson plan overview, which is to just introduce a personal narrative. Now it is written for grades 1, 2, and 3, but the same concept applies for 7th graders as well. So first, you'll model and instruct, explain the lesson about what a narrative is and who the story will be about. Then we're going to read a sample. They do provide sample passages up here for suggested reading. Now you do have to find that on your own. However, it does give you the the titles. They do have a sample narrative here, but since this is grade 1, 2, and 3, it's not really appropriate for my students. However, these other suggested readings would be helpful to use with my 7th graders. At the bottom here, there's also tips for adjustment. So for the advanced students, struggling students, and EL students. So I think that's great that they include different options to increase or decrease the difficulty of each lesson. So the next thing I went through to search for content for my online instructional unit was the Reintroduce section. So for this, again, it's written for grades 1, 2, and 3, but it's more of just an overview that I'm going to be looking at. So first, it starts with a review of what elements need to be included in a personal narrative. Then it moves into the brainstorming for their own personal narrative. Again, it has information for adjusting the content to make it more difficult or less difficult, also incorporating additional supports for EL students. What I will be using at the top of the page is this Questioning 5Ws graphic organizer, and this will be used for students to brainstorm their ideas for their personal narrative. All you need to do is click the Print Here link, and it'll open it up. You do need to attribute the information to FreeReading, which I will show you that graphic organizer. It already has it listed on it. So this is the graphic organizer that I'm going to be using with my 7th graders. It goes through the 5 Ws, and at the bottom we have the source, FreeReading. So I will be allowed to use this with my class because it follows the Creative Commons license. And the last thing that I looked at to use with my class is this Build Mastery for personal narrative. And again, I just use this as kind of an overview of what point in the narrative writing that they will be at. So for this step, they're going to use the graphic organizer and use that to plan their writing and start to develop the draft. So at first, it goes through modeling the personal narrative. Then it goes through practice, talking about the beginning, middle, and end. And again, at the bottom, there's tips for adjusting the lesson as needed. So overall, I think this is a pretty good resource. I mean, it's very elementary, but there are some things that I can incorporate into my own online instructional unit. I do like how things are easily laid out in the format. There are links embedded right into the lessons, so it's easy to navigate. And they have all of the information sectioned out by what kind of activity you're looking for. So again, here's the list of activities. You can also scroll down and look at the different explanations for each of the categories if you're not sure. There are definitely other educational resources out there that might be more beneficial. However, I really liked this one because there are no ads. I feel like a lot of the open educational resources that I clicked on were just covered in ads, and I was accidentally clicking on like car commercials and stuff, and I had all these pop-ups. So I like this one for the simplicity, the organization, and it is free from ads. I do understand that ads create revenue for a website, so I see why they have to incorporate those, but I would really prefer to have something without ads. So I like this FreeReading website, and I'll probably be using it here and there in my own teaching in both my English and reading learning support classes, because my students, since they are learning support, they're missing some of these foundational skills. So I think it's great that I can refer to this to see whichever their missing skills are, there are matching activities and lessons that will help me close that gap.